So now Blake Lively was just listed for Time magazine as one of the 100 most influential people. And not just influential, but a titan. And when you see why, it is going to make your jaw drop. It is so offensive. There are no words, but of course, I've gathered some. I was not planning on talking about this. I was late last night. I posted on X something that I discovered in the timeline. I'm going to do that video right after this one. So make sure you guys are subscribed and hit the notification bell, whether you're watching this on X or you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. Make sure that you are subscribed or following me because you're not going to want to miss that video. But when I saw this, I said, I know you got to be lying. I know somebody's out here playing with me because it's egregious for her to be in the 100 most influential people of 2025. But the reason why is so disgusting. I, I Let me just get into it and then we'll get more details. But there it is. So I'm going to read from TMZ, but I do have the actual Time article and some more details that I'm going to get to. Blake Lively has raced past influential person and has taken on immortal status because Time just named her a Titan on its annual 100 most influential people of 2025 list. The actress was included on the list in the Titans category alongside recognizable names like Serena Williams, SNL creator Lorne Michaels, Simone Biles, and Mark Zuckerberg, along with a coterie of other famous faces. Bruh. And everyone on the list are people who are Titans. You may not like them, you may not agree with them, they can be controversial to you. Okay, that's fine. But like I'm telling you, the reason why she's included, even if it's people that you may not like, maybe you don't like Mark Zuckerberg, you don't like Bill Gates, Michelle Obama, George Bush, all these different people, like that's fine. But no one in their right mind would put Blake Lively on a list that aligns her with Serena Williams and Simone Biles and a number of other people that are supposed to be titans. The Titans category is for people who are leaders in their field and those who have made a transformative impact on the world. In past years, the honor has been given to big names like Bill Gates, Michelle Obama, and George Bush. Oh, and we're going to get to this coonery right here. Sherilyn Ifill, ma'am, you let them use you for this. And I don't know who was paid, who was not, if this was a PR move, but shame on you. Shame on you. So this is Sherilyn Ifill who wrote the blurb about Blake Lively. This is what it says. A notable civil rights attorney wrote the blurb about Blake for the publication, saying she's never seen Gossip Girl or paid much attention to Blake Lively on the red carpet, but knows her instead as a philanthropist and a student of our country's most intractable problems. Eiffel notes Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds made a big donation to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund back in the day. And when Eiffel spoke to Lively, she was stunned by how much research Blake had done on the organization, and the two struck up a friendship. Eiffel calls Lively a serious person who understands the horrors of systematic racism and who is working to make America a fairer place for all people, regardless of skin color or ethnicity. I'm gonna get to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm just digesting. Because every time I read it, I just cannot believe what I just read. Worth noting, Lively's recent legal drama regarding Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath, a black man, Sherilyn, and claims of sexual harassment on the set of It Ends With Us didn't make it into the mag. Not exactly surprising. Okay, so then this goes into other details that we have found out. But let's go over this. When she says that they made, where's it at? She made a big donation to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And I can go on and on about the NAACP and the problems Black people have with this organization. But that's for a different video. But because she made this donation, 200,000, she is now a titan to face. What is it? What did she say? What did she say? Hold on, wait. But knows her as a philanthropist and a student of our country's most intractable problems. Hold on. And that lively understands the horrors of systemic racism and is working to make America a fairer place for all people, regardless of skin color or ethnicity. Where? But let's get into the donation. The reason why the donation was made was because of this. Let me read this. Let's make it bigger and try to so you guys can read along as much as possible. Oh, that is way too big. Okay. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively faced significant backlash for their 2012 wedding at Boone Hall Plantation in South Carolina due to the venue's history as a site of slavery. The plantation, which includes preserved slave cabins known as Slave Street, was criticized for being an inappropriate and insensitive choice for a celebration, as it glamorized a location tied to the brutal oppression of enslaved Black people. Critics argue that hosting a wedding there trivialized the suffering and violence endured by enslaved individuals, with the venue's picturesque setting, famous from films like The Notebook, masking its dark past. You know, Ryan Reynolds has an obsession with The Notebook. He's always kissing men to reenact the kissing scene, and he's kissed several men, and to reenact the kissing scene from The Notebook. And he even did it when Ryan Reynolds was receiving an award with Andrew Garfield. They just start making out in the audience. He's made out with Conan O'Brien, like a whole setup, like a whole film that they did to parody this. He is always wanting to make out and get busy with another man, it seems. Okay. The controversy initially surfaced at the time of the wedding, but gained renewed attention in 2018 when Reynolds tweeted in support of Black Panther, prompting accusations of hypocrisy on social media for celebrating Black empowerment while having married at a plantation. The issue resurfaced again in 2020 amid Black Lives Matter movement following George Floyd's death, with public sentiment on platforms like X highlighting the couple's choice as disrespectful to the history of slavery. More recently, in 2024 and 2025, the controversy was reignited amid Lively's legal battle with It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni, as critics and online commentators, including X users, brought up the wedding to question the couple's judgment. Lively also faced separate criticism for her 2014 lifestyle website, Preserve, which featured a photo shoot titled The Allure of Antebellum that romanticized pre Civil War South without addressing its connection to slavery, further fueling perceptions of tone deafness. In response, Reynolds and Lively issued apologies, with Reynolds calling the wedding a giant effing mistake in a 2020 Fast Company interview, admitting they chose the venue on Pinterest photos without considering its history. Sure. Mhm. They expressed deep regret, noting they held a second ceremony at home years later. Oh, so getting married on the graves of slaves where men, women, and children were brutalized, not just by torture and all the things we know to happen in slavery, but also raped. Yes, the men and children. And their graves, this is where this they got married on hollowed ground. If this was a Native American cemetery or place where Native Americans were slaughtered, would this be allowed? But no, 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 no. As long as you got remarried, you got did a little ceremony at home years later, that all is erased. And this really erases it. The couple also donated $200,000 to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund in 2020 and stated they were committed to educating themselves and their children about systematic racism. In between forcing her daughter to do a line 70 to 500 times that she didn't want to do, different lines about a sex act between her uncle Hugh and her father, or herself and her father, at the direction of her godfather figure, Sean Levy, who was the director. But okay. Um, Despite these efforts, some critics, as seen in ex post and media coverage, that might be me, argue the apologies and actions do not fully address the initial insensitivity, and the controversy continues to impact their public image. Crazy enough, last night, and I have the screenshots, I can prove it. I have it's like timestamps on the phone. Where in the middle of the night, I just started looking up Boone Hall Plantation. And I just was going through it. I screenshotted different things, different wordings. I went into the wedding celebration, all these things that they do. But let me show you this. Let me show you this. Where's it at? So if you go in here, where is it at? Okay. These are the slave cabins. Why is that fast forwarding? These are the slave cabins that are there on what is it? Slave Street. Why is it moving? Slave Street, okay, for guests to enjoy, where slaves were kept in inhumane conditions. We all know about slavery. We're not going to go over all that. They got the close ups because this is just beautiful. This is, and just so you know, this is a tourist attraction. They sell tickets so that you can come to this plantation and experience, I guess, what slavery was back then. And they even have guided tours and an audio guided tour that you can do. And they have different presentations and things about this. But yeah, look at the cradle. Look at the cradle for the baby, for the slave baby. I wonder if any of my people were brought through Boone Plantation. I'm going to ask my father. He's done extensive research on our history. And yes, I am Black. I am foundational Black American. I'm not biracial. Like it's in my bloodline somewhere, but my parents are Black. My grandparents are Black. Like, yes, everybody is an amalgamation of different things, but my ancestry is Black American. Like I'm bringing this up because Time Magazine is calling this woman a titan. She is fighting for systematic racism. She is fighting for people like me. She is fighting for Black folk in America. But there it is, the cradle. I wonder if she and Ryan, when they did the tour, because you do a tour of the location that you're going to have your wedding at. You didn't just pick it on Pinterest and you signed a contract. Either way, you saw Plantation, and either way, you went there, planned your wedding, did a tour of the grounds, did a tour of the slave cabins on Slave Street, and went through all of this, but yet you didn't know. Hmm. There we go. That's a handprint. There's some slave children, also known as pickaninnies, back in the day at Boone Plantation. Some slave hands, and oh yeah, like let's dress it up with Black history heroes, so that really cleans it up. Oh yeah, let's show a Black person. Is this Frederick Douglass? Jesus, give me the strength. Wow. Oh, and they even have, oh, Abraham Lincoln with a slave woman in a book. Wow, that really, oh, Rosa Parks. What does this have to do with, wow, Barack Obama? Oh, wow. Look at the gaslighting. Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, Martin Luther King. Look, there's somebody walking the grounds. I guess someone put something there. But I want to take you to this really quickly, and then we're going to continue. So I went to the weddings portion. where they just make this place sound so glorious. The perfect moment, the perfect place. Welcome to the Cotton Dock. The perfect moment, the perfect place. Welcome to the Cotton Dock. Let me see if it makes it bigger. The famous Avenue of Oaks is a three-fourth mile of 280-year-old giant live oaks draped with Spanish moss that is one of the most breathtaking wonders of nature anywhere in the world. It is an awesome spectacle and creates a spectacular backdrop and the perfect setting to let those memories for a lifetime unfold in a variety of ways. The bell of the hall, like the bell of antebellum. She also did a recipe on that website, that same blog that she was celebrating slavery on. Um, for Black History Month, she came up with cupcakes that cost $168. hmm And dismissed the horrors of slavery, just like she dismissed the horrors of domestic violence and abuse doing It Ends With Us promotion and all throughout the entire movie process. And she wanted to, let's not think about, all of those bad things. Let's just celebrate me and my florals and Betty Boo's and Betty Buzz and Aviation Gin and Deadpool and Wolverine and my Mint Mobile phone. So those $168 cupcakes, which I guess I'm gonna have to do a separate video. Else Rich told me about it. We talked about it a little bit in a live stream, but I'm gonna have to break it down since they want to go the slavery route. I've tried to avoid. I've brought up race somewhat in this. Plantation Khaleesi. I talked about Jamie Heath being a black man, like Emmett Till. The black man looked at me. Literally, she's claiming being uncomfortable and harassment because Jamie Heath looked her in the eyes while she was breastfeeding instead of looking at her breast. So that somehow equates to, it was unsettling and disturbing for her, for this black man to look her in the eyes. But let's continue. The Bell of the Hall, located on the grounds of Boone Hall Plantation, is an iconic structure that has a history all of its own. A building which is nestled in a majestic setting on a tidal marsh amongst over 3 centuries of history, beauty, and grace. A rustic building whose walls, if they could talk, would speak proudly of a guest list over the years, which has included presidents and prominent politicians, celebrities, businesses, families, and friends, old and new. This legendary structure sets the stage for celebrating some of life's most special moments and launching new beginnings of every kind. You can do a 360 tour of it and be the belle of the thing. Variety of venue options. There is no question that the Cotton Dock is the most famous and most popular venue at Boone Hall Plantation, but helping to create the perfect place for that perfect moment is what we do. And as we explore the various venue options at Boone Hall, you will discover that there are a variety of spectacular locations on the plantation where the world can stand still and make a lasting impression for your special day. The majestic front lawn and front of the mansion, all this majestic mansion is also known as Massa's Big House, the Big House. The intimate patio area behind, and the spacious back lawn flanked by gorgeous tidal marshes, all create spectacular possibilities for a couple's special day. Our staff recognizes the importance of these moments and will work to help plan them to be everything you want them to be. We offer a variety of location and event options, and then you can, book it, and then they have all the venue packaging. Give me the strength, God. Give me the strength. So this is the Time article here, and And just to add in some of the things that she says here, and then I want to show you some of the other names. Oh, Jesus. Blake got a little back acne. Okay. All right. So she talked about, I already gave the statement about how she gave money and she doesn't know much about all this other stuff. I have been getting a few of these calls as our work fighting against voter suppression and police brutality was receiving national attention. I'm always curious about the kind of research famous people do before they make that cold call to offer their support. The ones I have remained in relationship with are those who, like Blake, really did their homework. I admired immediately her curiosity and her sincere work to understand the conditions that shape this country. I remember an early conversation in which she expressed frustration that so much of our nation's history was not part of the instruction she received as a student. She got married on a plantation purposely. She was celebrating pre Civil War South and the masses' wife and wanting to return to that era. But now she says, she really did their homework, okay? And says, I admired her immediately, her curiosity, and her sincere work to understand the conditions that shape this country. I remember an early conversation in which she expressed frustration that so much of our nation's history was not part of the instruction she received as a student. So you didn't learn about slavery as a student? Her commitment to filling those gaps and becoming the most fully informed and prepared citizen is what I appreciate most about her. Blake is a serious person. She's a risk taker, and she's committed to moving this country forward for her children and for mine. Oh, and they wanted to note again, Ifill is a civil rights lawyer. So she's a titan and one of the 100 most influential people because after she was caught in controversy, several racist controversies, and then in 2020 donated this money, cold called, right? But even though she was receiving backlash that time, she had received backlash multiple times before, but never did anything about it other than they had a private ceremony at home. But then during the George Floyd, oh, this is an opportunity for us to look like we's like black people now. Come on, they's dumb. Never mind that Ryan Reynolds has joked about doing blackface. He's called black people monkeys. That Blake Lively has done blackface. Never mind any of that. On top of all the other things, pretending to be native, and the numerous egregious, outrageous things that will have anybody else canceled. But because she gave $200,000 in 2020, for tokenism that she couldn't be bothered before to do anything about, but this tokenism around George Floyd, they gave this money. Now in 2025, that makes her a titan fighting for civil rights and black people in this country. And that's why she's in the 100 most influential people. So these are the people that have different categories, right? So they have artists. Some people in here I don't recognize, but oh, Scarlett Johansson is just an artist on here. I see Ed Sheeran, Hoosier, Kristen Bell, Rashida Jones. Then icons: Demi Moore, Adrian Brody, David Muir, Bobby Brown, Jalen Hurts, Amy Griffin, not recognize anyone else. But then leaders, remember, we're stair stepping here. So all of these people are below Blake Lively, okay? Because she, again, donated $200,000 to the NAACP in 2020. And so now in 2025, she's a civil rights leader. Mhm. So leaders: Donald Trump, Elon Musk, JD Vance, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Megyn Kelly. I don't recognize any of these other people. I find it really crazy that they put all right wing political kind of figures in this leaders category. But okay. Now, Titans. Here we go. Titans, Titans, Titans. Serena Williams, of all her accomplishments. Next is Blake Lively. And sandwiched in between Serena, Blake Lively's name is sandwiched between Serena Williams and Simone Biles. They're on the same level. She's on the same level of accomplishment as Serena Williams and Simone Biles, let alone being above all these other people. Because she's, again, she's not an artist. She's not an icon. She's not a leader. She's a titan. Mark Zuckerberg is named on here. Joe Rogan is named on here. Lauren Michaels, which we mentioned before. I don't recognize the other people. Now, I guess this is the group that's way above, that's above her now. I don't recognize a single name. This is pioneers and then innovators. Snoop Dogg. Nikki Glacier. Larry Fink. And that's it. But sandwiched in between, Serena Williams and Simone Biles, just to make it extra, to really dig in and to make a mockery of Black Americans. They squeeze her in and claim she's a civil rights leader between two accomplished Black women. This video may have been, I'm a little scatterbrained. I'm going to have to do a deeper dive into this and really, 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 really go into the weeds because this is so atrocious. I don't even have words. I'm just, I think it speaks for itself. But guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Let me just show you really quickly because I am just, again, this just hit me. So I'm trying my best right now. But of course, I dropped some new merch with realmelanieking.com. The link will be below. I can't even talk about this, guys. I just dropped some new stuff, but I'll save that for my next video. I am just shame on time. This is atrocious on every level. I cannot imagine a single Black American that would be okay with this. And this woman, who's this civil rights attorney, is a disgrace with this buck dancing and coonery to actually claim that Blake Lively in 2025 has been fighting against systematic racism because she threw some cash finally after receiving all the backlash over her plantation wedding and the other egregious racist things that she's done in the past. But today, again, someone needs to connect the dots to me of how that donation that her and Ryan Reynolds gave in 2020, how that makes her a titan of civil rights in 2025. That's all.